episode of Going Live with the MC. I am your host, MC Reef, and today we have another dope guest. This guest today, he is a legend in the musician world. He has worked with many up and coming independent artists as well as some certified OGs in the game. You know, people that we grew up on that we probably would have never had a chance to stand next to. This guy has been on stage helping them shine in the spotlight. So without further ado, I just want to invite my guest on, CJ Jourdan, aka CJ the guitarist. Let's get him in here.
We got it
Yeah,
this time? Money?
I can't see you, man, but it is what it is, yo. I think
Very funny.
we just gonna have to do it like this, man.
That's fine.
Yeah, yeah, we just gonna have to do it like this. How you feeling today, my brother?
I'm feeling. I have no issues, bro.
Yes, I'm feeling.
Life is good.
Oh man,
Chilling.
that's funny. Um, yeah, man. So first off, thank you for coming onto the platform. It's my pleasure to be able to create something for other people to, come and share their story on. So thanks for your willingness to join us.
For sure, bro. Thank you for having me. It's
No
always
doubt, no doubt, no
it's
doubt.
always a good time around you, bro.
Huh?
It's always a good time around you, bro.
Oh yeah, yeah. I try, I try. Authentic, of course. Nothing forced.
I see.
Um,
Son, I see you.
yeah, facts, facts. Um, so I like to start off with a few basic or easy questions, I guess, to get viewers in on it. And I will be sharing this live so more people could tune in. It really doesn't matter who the audience is, because people watch this afterwards more so. But I
Literally,
definitely like to send out and make sure people are watching in real time.
for
Um,
sure.
so my first question for you is, what made you want to stick with your actual name? Like you didn't think picking a stage name would be cool, or you just say, you know what, I'm gonna be myself all the way to the end. How did that work for you?
Um, it depends on the context because I have my solo band and my solo project I have a different name. That's Experimental Soul. So when I'm working out there in the world, I don't feel like I need a moniker. I'd rather just be me.
Okay. So do you feel like a moniker would be like kind of hiding from yourself in a sense? Like, do you feel like we even need stage names?
Um, for me personally, I feel like I feel like my personality and my stage presence is loud enough where I don't need a moniker.
I feel that. I feel that. I feel that. Um, Honestly, oh, I don't know what that's about. Wait, where'd my video go? Are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Oh yeah, my screen just went black. I don't know what's good with that.
It's the
I
Matrix,
don't know.
bro. It's
I
the
don't know what's
FBI agents getting
happening,
at you, bro.
bro. This social media is weird.
It al-
Um,
it always is.
yeah, for real, for real. All right, so how long have you been on your musical journey, and where did it start?
Um, damn. I've been at this for some time, haven't I? Shit. At this point, like being out there on stage and doing the thing, it's been 20 years. Um,
20 years. Let's go. Salute to that.
yeah, man. I got started in the dirty version of New York. Right now, we're still in Disney, New York. Like back when New York used to be dingy, dirty, and weird. I came up in that New York.
Best
I
time.
was my best friend at the time. His older brother was best friends with my current business partner, and they needed a bassist for their band, and they tapped me on the shoulder, even if it was kind of interesting because those cats were like 21, 22, and I was 15. So,
Mm,
that made for some interesting conversations out there on the road where it's like, should we let him into this club? I
right.
had we had to argue my case a couple of times, but got to play a lot of pivotal rock shows at like CBGB's and Bowery Electric, like good solid things. And people in those days used to show up. Like people wanted to hear indie music because back then that was like around the emo
Right.
phase. So in that time, everyone was out there trying to find the next small rock band that does the thing,
Mm.
and we were always in the conversation. So that was where the journey started.
So 20 years ago, you just you guys formed a band and it just went up from there.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Um,
So
After that, it
sorry,
was
go ahead.
like no worries. After that, in high school, I was still doing the thing, and it was a decision: what do I continue music or do I study psychology? I decided to do the practical thing and study psychology, and in my freshman year, I got so bored that I switched to music as a major instead.
In college.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that, okay, okay, okay. So this was before high school that you got started.
Yeah,
Okay,
for
so
sure.
what was your how can I say? What was the moment that transpired to where you were like, you know what? I'm actually good at this. Like I could make a living from this. Like what was that like?
We were playing one of those artist showcase contest things,
Huh?
um, and it was a fairly big one. It was sponsored by a whole bunch of people, Live Nation and stuff. So the shows were packed. They gave us fun equipment to use, like full stacks and wireless systems, so we can really do the thing.
That's dope.
And one show was, I was wilding out at the show. I jumped up, like I literally jump kicked off the stage, cheered for myself, and ran back on stage while playing. And
Out of line. So I could see you doing that too.
it's pretty
I could
easy to
totally see you doing that.
imagine.
Yeah, 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 for sure, definitely. Um, so no, I think that's pretty interesting because a lot of us, as performing artists, we haven't even gotten close to Live Nation, and we know Live Nation are the ones, responsible for putting together like the huge shows, like for the big artists and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like they got all the resources and stuff like that. So I think it's interesting that you got the hookup through them, or at least that was like your big starting point to where you could be like, okay, this is something I want to do.
it was pretty
Because on the flip
convincing.
side of that, us artists, we got to deal with having five people in the crowd, or we got to deal with, faulty microphones, or a fucking DJ that's pissed off or something,
Oh,
like,
that
like we got
happened
to
too.
deal with those things.
That happened too. Don't get me wrong. There are some times where we were just practicing on stage.
Oh,
So,
just to do it.
well, if no one shows up, might as well make the time productive, no?
Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, see, listen, man, those be the worst ones too. The best ones, but the worst ones, because like you said, you make the most of your time. So
Right.
you can either complain about it or you can just make the most of your time.
Gotta roll with the punches.
Um, yeah, yeah, for sure, definitely. Um, I saw this video the other day of Stevie J playing the guitar backwards.
Mhm.
Can you do that?
I'd rather not.
No, no, no,
Cause
no, 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 no. I mean, but can you though? Because it's like the way he did it. All right, so the backstory was apparently who was the artist in the studio? Is a I hate to say old head, but it was one of the OGs.
sure.
Apparently, I thought it was like a story from 20 years ago, but apparently it was something recent. But anyways, point blank, the dude needed like some notes or whatever played for a song or whatever, and he needed a left-handed guitarist to do it.
Right.
So Stevie J's not lefty, so he basically flipped it around and was just like playing it backwards, and it all made sense. Like the notes came out as if it were a left-handed player. I don't know what type of guitar science that is, but it was interesting to watch.
I've I've
Um,
I've definitely played left-handed guitar as righty, and it's weird, but it's possible.
oh,
Honestly, what it does
so
is
they have them fitted for left and right.
right, the strings are flipped in order.
Got it. That's interesting. I thought he was just like, since we don't have any left-handed guitars, we just gonna flip this one around. Like
Yeah,
that's interesting. I didn't know that. That's dope.
so
Um,
that's the story of that. Whenever that happens to me, I actually think about harmony different. So usually the chords come out way different. Like
mm,
it's usually a bit more colorful because I'm still halfway like, the fuck am I doing?
What are the cons of being a guitarist? Like, what are some things that you really, really face with, whether it's on stage during a performance or whether it's like the politics of the music?
Um, there's a couple of different things. A, there's a lot of points of failure. Like if you're a guitarist who likes to have toys, play with pedals, you you're gonna magically come up to a show and all of a sudden one cable doesn't work. And now it's like, oh thanks, now I don't have a fucking overdrive. What am I gonna do now?
I
Things like
think that happened at a recent show that I was at. You wasn't there, but it
that.
was the band. Skip was there. Who else? I think Cass was there. So,
Funny thing, the last show we played, the last show we played together, it did happen to me.
oh, the BKR Fest.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. I probably missed that
That,
then because I was hosting that event.
yep,
Yeah, I
that
was
was
hosting that. I didn't peep that. I think you guys were like phenomenal. Y'all didn't skip a beat. In my mind, you guys didn't skip a beat.
whenever things like that happen, I just get frustrated and channel frustration into playing as aggressive as I possibly can.
So does that uh what's the word I was looking for? Does that is that where the faces come from? Like when you making the like you just be frustrated, so you just like but it's like it'd be
I
funny to me. Like it's a cool funny, like a passionate thing, you know, like he's really in the zone. Like
I used to be a lot worse. There are so many. There's actually footage of me from like early days of college in the R&B group I was with, where sometimes I was playing a lick that was like way too crazy. Like my brain didn't like outpace my fingers. It just wasn't working.
mm.
So I'm doing the lick and I'm doing a pretty good job, but I flubbed like two notes in it, and I'm here on stage and I yell out. Luckily, there's a sound system, so you don't hear me screaming that out.
Right.
But my bandmates are trying to keep it together because they're just like, yo, Charles is at it again. Charles is bugging.
Fuck this shit.
Basically,
Yo.
'cause, yo,
I've never seen it, man. But I mean, if I have seen it, you've done a great job at masking it. Like it's
I've
just, but I
matured.
think that's the beautiful part of passion. Like you can do something and you know you messed up, but nobody else does.
Right. Because trust me, I flub a lot, but that's because damn it, I'm still always reaching for something. Like I'm never done figuring out new things to do and new ways to do it. And sometimes my experimentation just happens on stage in real time. So whatever happens, happens.
Okay, I could get with that. So one thing that I've noticed that I've wanted to applaud you on, um, and I haven't been able to speak with the whole band together, but just you know, since you're here with me right now, I just wanted to applaud that. I appreciate how quick you are with picking up music. Um, I don't think I'm that quick, you know. So what I'm speaking on is the two times that we've gotten to perform, you know,
Mhm.
where I did the rehearsal with you guys, and y'all don't know shit. I'm not giving y'all sheet music. I'm not coming in there like super knowledgeable about music theory, like, yo, hit the F7 or stroke the G chord or, you know,
Mhm.
like, I don't have any of that knowledge, you know, but you guys could hear something, pick it up and be like, okay, this is where I tune in at. This is where I fall back at. Because I've even seen that too during certain songs that I performed. There were times where you sat back or Skip or Jay, whoever was on the drums, would fall back or Cass would, you know, lean back off the keys, that kind of thing. So where does that come from? Like just your keen knowledge of hearing a sound and be like, okay, that's this chord right here.
Um, in that configuration, like when me and Kaz are together, it's it's interesting because we both have perfect pitch. So we both instinctively know what notes being played at any given time. So we pick up music extra quick because it's just like, okay, G, let's go. And I'm I'm so used to MDing, like almost in every group, I'm either co-MDing or I'm MDing. So I feel the flow of the music and I listen really attentively to whoever the artist is, and I'm just like, all right, so where do I need to go? It's like thinking about it. It's being a producer in real time, really.
That's interesting because I feel like producers definitely have to know that too as well.
They do, for sure.
But
It helps a lot.
when I was taking like my YouTube University courses on
Mm.
production, they tried to like highlight the fact that you don't need music theory lessons to understand how to produce, but I feel like that's bullshit.
It definitely levels you up a bit. And music theory isn't really as complicated as people make it out to be. It can be, don't get me wrong, but ultimately it's just knowing what function chords play in relation to each other. Like if this chord's being played, I know that there's probably three possibilities that could possibly be, and two of them will sound dope anyway. So go for it and see what happens and move from there.
That's dope, but it's even better to see it in real time, because I was I don't know if I believe I still have the footage on my page, but
Yeah.
as I'm rehearsing, you can like see it in my face. I'm like, damn, these motherfuckers is catching on, like they doing it. And it first off, my interest in bands. I played music instruments when I was younger. I just never stuck to it, and that was my dumbass mistake. I feel like I should have kept on to that, and I've always felt that way when I was younger. I was like, damn, I should still practice piano.
Never too
Damn,
late.
I should still continue to play the drums.
Never too
And now I'm at a
late.
point, right? It is, and now I'm at a point in my career where I just want to make live music. I love performing with a band now. I had my first experience in London at an event called Band Jam. You would love to do that too, by the way. I know you would love that vibe. It's just all. Let me not pull the race card, but it's all black people. It's a black-owned event. Like they curate their events, and they only invite black artists because they want to showcase the greatness that we possess.
Hey,
Um,
there needs to be a space for
for real, and I think it's beautiful because the people come out. It's always a packed show. I've done their shows twice, but I've been to like about four of their events. And every time it's packed. They always got food. They cook their own food, and it's just a really great vibe. But the thing with that one, I didn't have a sound check or a legit sound check. So what happened was, you see how you guys did one like a week before the show or a few days before the show, and we had that one day to get it
it. Yeah.
right? That was cool. With these guys, you walk in, you do sound check, and that's it. Like, and they don't even have you do your whole set. It's just one song sound check.
Yeesh.
Yeah, so, but if you watch the footage from that, they absolutely body it. Absolutely. And that's where my real fascination for live music kicked in at, because how are these people so knowledgeable of music? Like, granted, obviously, years and years and years of knowledge, but
That helps.
to see it like that, yo, I appreciate you guys a lot more.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the appreciation.
For real, for real. So, as a musician, sometimes you guys are like in the background. Speaking of appreciation, a lot of people they don't count the band as the reason why they had the best experience. So what are times where, I mean, what's a few times where someone has come up to you and like made you fully cherish your role? If you, let's just say when you were doing the live nation stages, you thought you were just being a vessel, you were just playing the music, and then other people were shining off of that. But then someone came up to you. So how did that look like to you? Like, how many times have people come up to you and just been like, yo, every time you got a show, I don't care who it is, I'll pop up just to see you.
I've had a couple of moments like that, and it's really distinct and loved every single one of them. There was one time where I was playing a funk show deep in Long Island, like North Bumblefuck, Long Island. Um,
Mm.
and I'm doing my thing, and this oh, once again, not to bring up the race card, but that makes it a bit more distinct too. But this old white guy comes up to me, and he's just like, "You play bass so damn physical. I love it. Like you are literally up there sweating the entire time, and
Mhm.
you sound good doing it. You you're special. Keep on doing what you're doing." And I was like, "Little old me? Oh shit."
That's
And
dope.
that was super cool. Another time, someone came up to me and they're like, "You know exactly what you're doing. Like, there's not a doubt in your body." And I'm like, "That's a unique compliment. Thank you for that."
Excuse me.
Like,
That's dope.
so it's always great to get validation.
No, that's beautiful. And I know a lot of times you, not even a lot of times, I know all the time you don't do it for validation. I can see it from the way you carry yourself. There's none of this is validation. This is because you want to do it. Like you enjoy doing it.
Right.
So that's what makes it even more better. You're right. I agree with that. What are
How
your,
about,
huh?
no, I was about to say, how about you? Because I know you've had to have it.
I think it started when I was working with kids. I was kind of like not scared, but I didn't want them to discover my music because even though I had all these other songs out, it was the Get High song that started gaining popularity around that time. So the
Okay.
last thing I wanted them to do is for me to be in a room teaching them, yo, you can be better in life, you can do this and that, and they see me on YouTube smoking weed. So one day,
That's hilarious.
yeah, one day the middle schoolers, when I came into work or whatever, they flooded me in the cafeteria and they started singing the lyrics. And I'm looking at them like, yo, what did you find this at? Like, how do you even know my stage name? Like, I didn't tell them nothing about my music. I just told them that I make music. That's it. So, my guess could be that they went home and they just started searching Mr. Sharif online, like just try to find me in any kind of way.
It's
And they found me on SoundCloud. They found me on SoundCloud, and every day they came in for like a whole week straight playing the music, just playing that one song. And I kept telling them turn it off before the director hear it or whatever. They even showed it to the director, and then the director came to me and she was like, I don't really condone this part of the song, for them finding out about it. But the fact that you're actually talented, I would love you to, help them out a little bit
hey,
more.
hey,
So I think a few months later down the line, they asked me to put together like a songwriting program to where I would teach the kids how to rap. That was short lived because I worked in a very, how can I say, a very rough neighborhood.
mm,
So the kids there, like, they needed to be in that program because if they were on the street, they were getting into some kind of trouble or whatever the case is. So it
yeah,
was short lived because, people didn't want to do the hard work. Once they seen what went into songwriting, it was just like they lost interest. So they started doing a whole bunch of, recklessness and disrupting the class and all of that. So the director ended up cutting the
mm,
program. But uh, um, I think a week or two later, one of the parents came up to me and told me that their child ended up writing a song that they heard.
hey,
And they asked them who, put them up to this because they can't never done no music before. And, when they found out it was me, it just made that much more sense. It was like, okay, I would rather you teach my child music than anyone else. And from there, I was just like, wow, like you got the kids actually wanting to look up to you. Like, and I don't know if they saw any other song or if it was just the Get High song. But either way, I went home every single one of those nights when those events was happening. I went home and I just sat thinking to myself, like, yo, I'm out here inadvertently inspiring people. Like people I didn't mean to inspire, I'm inspiring.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So from that point on, I was just like, you know what? Everything that I do with this music, I have to make sure that I'm loud about it. So at this point, I don't care if you a kid, you an old ass person or whatever. You gonna know I do music. I'm not hiding that from anybody no more.
Your whole self,
But that's what
bro.
it was.
Gotta.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was.
I had a teaching moment that was very unique too. Um, when I was in college getting my degree, music education, have the student teach.
Mm,
So I was scared as shit because the music director put a lot of pressure on my shoulders for this because I finished my qualifications late because I'm a fucking bum. Like I didn't care about my degree at that point. I'm like, yo, can I just perform? I just want to perform. Like
mm,
this is useless. I knew all this already. Let's go. Okay, come on. Anyway, but so the school that a student taught at was a school that said we're never accepting teachers from this school ever again because the last person there really messed it up. Like
mm,
really messed up. So she's like, I am putting you in this school. Get us back there because it's like one of the rich, nice districts in Long Island. So, so I was out of place too because it was just a lot of Asian folk, a lot of Asian folk, a lot of white folk, some black sprinkled in there, but that's about it.
A little bit of
Kids,
spice.
kids were drop, kids were driving Maseratis to school, bro.
I, I believe that.
Like
I
kids
believe
were
that.
driving Maseratis in the school, and I come up in my fucking hoopty, tired as fucking shit, still hungover, and I'm
That's
like,
crazy.
damn it, I gotta do this shit. So my favorite class was my eighth grade class because they were so weird. I loved middle school because like they're finding
Mhm.
themselves, so they're gonna try and do weird shit. And me being a fucking space cadet myself, saying, "All right, I know what you're talking about. You're good. You'll be fine." So that age was amazing. So what I did with them is I did a jazz suite, and so they had in their archives they had like a jazz suite. And I'm like, yeah. That's what that's what I'm gonna fucking do. If I'm a black conductor teaching your children, they're gonna learn some damn jazz. So and yo, fucking murdered it. I was weird all year, saying a whole bunch of weird shit, and they were all like, yeah, fucking yeah. And I'm like, don't calm down. Don't think like me. Please don't
Right.
think like me. But
Right.
at the end of the year, I even had them do jazz improvisation. Like I taught them how to improvise over a blues, like the real way,
Mhm.
and it worked. I'm like, damn it, these kids are fucking crazy. So, and you know, these kids, once again, rich Asian kids, they've been playing violin since they were one. So I'm dealing with that caliber of orchestra players. So I'm like, I can literally do anything with y'all. This is great. So at the end of the year, they made a poster, and the poster was filled with quotes I said during the year.
Mhm.
Like things I said in the beginning of the year, they were quoting. Like,
That's dope.
and some of the and some of the quotes I thought were kind of they're kind of dangerous if you really think about it, because they were always afraid to make mistakes. And I'm not like, if you're going to be wrong with authority. If I can't
100%.
if I can't hear you, I can't fix it.
I
So,
feel that. That's deep.
but yeah, if you're going to be wrong with authority. That that's a damn fact.
I feel that. Real quick, shout out to everybody that's tuning in. If you guys have any questions for me or CJ, please feel free to hit the question mark at the bottom, ask whatever question, or you can leave a compliment, a statement, whatever it is. Share your thoughts. Um, Shout out to Kef Life, shout out to Random Thoughts, shout out to Reflective Transcendence. These guys are always tuning in whenever I do an episode, very supportive. Um, and, you know, we just growing as we go. So yeah, moving along. Um, Going back to your college experience,
Mm.
you listed that your knowledge conflicted with the passion because they wanted you to learn things that you already knew. So, was there ever like any like was there a chance that you can get like a shortcut through college just because you knew the stuff? Like, was you able to like breathe like when they did like testing and stuff? Was you able to like fly through that stuff, or was there a way you can get like credits faster just because like you knew you had some type of experience?
A lot of things were happening in my life during college, so I really wasn't paying attention. Like I was really somewhere else. Like deep things, like people passing away, um,
Mm,
family strife. I had things going on. I was on probation.
mm.
That was the
You was
first
out in the
time.
streets, huh?
That was the first time I went to jail.
First, yo, you outside, bro. Damn.
Fuck with me.
I feel you.
I keep it quiet.
No, I respect it. I respect it.
I just walk proper. Anyway, yeah, so I failed so many classes just because I really wasn't applying anything. I wasn't
Yeah.
paying attention. I wasn't doing tests. I was not showing up. Like I was a horrible student. I've always been a horrible student.
So would you
Well,
say that would you say you took advantage just because you felt like you knew which what you didn't know?
after a while, I had to activate. Like I had to activate and fill the gaps because it's not like they weren't gaps. It's just that everything was kind of, and there was it was very classical based. Like there was no jazz, no barely anything outside of the jazz band and the vocal jazz ensemble. And I I stayed in college because of those,
That's
honestly.
yeah, that's whack. And
Because yo,
and you were paying for tuition, huh? You didn't have a scholarship.
I had scholarships, but once again, I was damn near flunking out of college, so I lost some.
Mm.
Like I went as low as like a 2.4, bro. Like I was not there.
Tripping.
Like I and then once I started applying myself, 3.6.
You know, it'll be people like you, man. I be wanting to kick your ass, man, because I didn't get to go to college, you know. My mom, I don't like, I used to say that she wasn't very supportive, and that I low key still feel this way to this day, but I had to grow up and realize, my mom didn't know much about a lot, and I was pretty much the only kid in the family who was like trying to do shit. Like I wanted to travel, I wanted to go to college, I wanted to try out this craft, I wanted to build this. Like I was the one kid in the family that did that. You know what I'm saying? Still to this day, I'm that one.
There always has to be
Not to,
one.
huh?
There always has to be one.
Yeah, facts. Like the rest of my siblings, they're very chill. They're not into much. They don't pursue like a heavy passion. My older sister and my middle sister, I don't call her my little sister, but they are traveling, but for the most part, they just stick to their work. They come home to their life and just stay out the way. Um, and my younger sister, she's just not into anything at all. She's yeah, she just lives. Every
What
day
is
goes by.
what is that like?
So like I'm the one. And I used to like really beg my mom to fill out the paperwork. Fill out the paperwork, do the FAFSA stuff like that. She just never filled it out. And then they raised the age from 22 to 24 to be able to fill out your own paperwork. And that's what changed it for me. So, because I believe I was 21 at the time when I found out that the legal age was 22, that you can fill out your own college work, your financial information and shit like
Mm,
that. Um, yeah, so once they raised it to 24, I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I don't need college. And at the time, I was working in the library anyway. So I
okay.
was like always like reading and shit like that. I was always a nerd anyway. Like, I'm totally the opposite of you. I was always into shit. Like, like in school, I did cut school. I did get suspended. I was definitely acting a fool and shit like that. But for the most part, I was good. You know what I'm saying? I made sure that, I learned something. And then I also had uncles. My uncles would kick my ass if I was like failing. So I didn't even try to play that game with them.
I well, my mom was my family. Well, my mom, and my brother were very supportive during that time, and like even financially, they put money into me too in college. My mom dragged me through all the paperwork, so I had the support. But when I was flunking out, basically, we all were going through something because deep family stuff. So we we were all checked out at that time. I just had to snap back to reality. My mom wrote a letter to keep me in school,
Mm,
and then I activated because I'm like, okay, we're back.
I feel that. So speaking of the reading thing,
Mm,
the last time that you and I had a conversation, we was outside at the BK Art Fest,
yeah.
and you brought up this book right here.
Yes, I did.
I told you my cousin had it. I told you my cousin had it, man. Listen,
Ah,
between me and my cousin, we like we go back and forth challenging each other with like intellectual conversations. We're always
that's great.
talking about shit. So it's just dope, and we've always been this way since young. You know, I have a lot of cousins, a lot. Like I mean, probably about 30, 40 cousins, but like
Me too.
yeah, I have a lot. Um, and he comes from a family of seven, and they were all boys. Well,
Interesting.
there's eight now. There's eight now. Well, nine. There's a younger son and a daughter, but it was all boys, you know. And I grew up with all of them, all seven of them. But he's the one that that has been around consistently throughout my life. So the rest of them, they're older, whatever they're doing with life, I have no idea. But we try to keep in touch here and there whenever I see them, on social media or whatever. But point in the case, I started reading this book. I'm in the second half, Energy, and I kind of feel like I kind of feel like how you feel in college, where it's just like, I know this shit, man. Why am I reading this? Like a lot of this shit that I'm reading in the book, I've experienced already.
Sure.
And but it's funny though to see
To see it,
that there
to
are
see
other
it.
individuals out there who can break it down in other ways, because they're talking about examples in this story that I may not have experienced yet, but just to have like the lightest, slightest part of knowledge about it, it just makes me that much more prepared to, face anything in life. Honestly,
Right.
I don't really like right now. I'm in my stress free era. Like, I be mad as hell about shit. People do annoy me. You know what I'm saying? There's things that do tick me off or whatever, but for the most part, I do my best to like let it fly, because it don't really like you ever. And I don't know if they mentioned this in the book, but this is something that I always think about. You ever like had to pay, like, let's just say, a phone bill, and you don't get paid till next week. You ask one of your homies for bread and nobody got it for you, and you just sitting there like, damn son, like, hey, I gotta pay this fucking bill, man. I need to pay this bill. Like, oh man, I'm gonna do this. I gotta. You trying to come up with all types of plays, and then just randomly somebody might text your phone and be like, hey, I got this gig for you, or hey, I owed you like $50 or whatever the case is, like 3 years ago. Or like, has that ever happened to you? Or like even just
Absolutely.
finding money?
Absolutely. That happens. Actually, that happens to me often enough where it's interesting.
Hmm.
But, it's the the real thing is just setting yourself up in a way where you always have an escape hatch. Like there always has to be there's always a comfort other option. And as long as you make sure that you structure your life in a way where like you could fall through the floor, but to get to the ground floor, do you have two floors to go or do you have 99?
Mm. Okay, that's an interesting way to look at it. That's an interesting way to look at it. So, how many times have you read this book? Because I know people read book things, more than once, just to, I guess, get a real understanding of it. How many times did you read it?
Three. Mm,
Three? Okay. Well, I will say it's very easy to read. That's why I was able to, get to part two so quickly.
right.
Um, and I will say that if I guess it helps to have an inside knowledge of what you're reading about, because if you don't, then like, curiosity isn't gonna save you.
Right.
Like, anyone can always be curious about something, but like when you realize that you have to actually dive deep into it, and there's a whole fucking rabbit hole of stuff that you don't know, yeah, people tend to look the other way. Um, but I think for me personally, it's being immersed, which they talk about in this book as well too, is being immersed in your mind, like not focusing on what's on the outside,
Right.
like,
Well,
because, and even, I don't know about you, but I dibble and dabble with the shrooms, so
absolutely. They're great.
they are.
Love them.
um, I there's been times where I've taken a trip and I'm just kind of like yo, this is where I belong, like in my head, like like it's like the Fairy Odd Parents episode where Timmy got lost on the internet
Yes.
and he was just walking around and everything was just blank,
Hmm.
so that's how it was, and then like shit just started flying out at him, like thoughts, emails, and shit that he wanted to like, you know, uh either things that he thought of sending out or they sent out and he was trying I think one thing in particular he was trying to get was this love letter to Trixie or something like that. He was trying to track down
Right.
that letter or whatever. But everything else that just came in, that kind of reminds me of like what it's like on a trip, like, but how I felt like it was just normal. It didn't feel like I was like spazzing or anything. It was like, oh shit, my thoughts are loud. I can't control this. Like some people be like, oh, I can't control it. It's mentally damaging. But it's like, were you even ready for that? Or were you doing it just because it was cool? You know, someone told you
Right.
that it was lit and you just did it. Um, so that's what I think of with this book. When I read this, I feel like I'm on a trip. I'm in my mind. I'm fully immersed. Nothing else is going on around me but understanding myself through this
Right.
book.
Because
So,
know, the basic overall premise the of the book is the who's to say, this is the question that it's posing, who's to say that the voice that you hear in your head is actually you?
right. And
And
I,
if it's not you, then how does it talk to you?
mm,
How does it talk to you, and how often do you observe it? Can you silence it? Can you control it?
right.
Or are you still within yourself, fully within yourself? And yes, a voice does float in every once in a while, but whenever it floats in, it's usually important. Otherwise, it leaves me alone.
I feel that. I feel that. That's dope. So you mentioned earlier in the interview that you've had projects out, like
Oh,
you have albums
absolutely.
and stuff.
Absolutely,
What's
bro. So my
up,
most
man? Where's that? Where can I find this stuff at? Like, so what is it? Is it just you playing guitar, or like you're actually like singing, rapping?
so in experimental soul, I for the past two albums, I wanted to make sure that the songs were exactly like they're represented exactly how I hear them in my head. So the only way to make sure that that happens is for me to play everything. I played everything because I play 14 instruments. So I don't, so
What are they?
sweet Jesus in heaven. Okay.
Let the people
um,
know, man.
Violin, viola, cello, bass, uh, piano, synth, drums, trumpet, trombone, clarinet, bass
Mm.
clarinet, uh, slide guitar, and I'm picking up banjo.
So how does that work for you? Is it like you just see an instrument and you're like, time to conquer something new?
It's more like, what's that? Try something, try to make sense of it, and then once you get to, does it make sense? Then it's just let's go. The like since I have perfect pitch, I really don't care. I'll find it somehow. I'll make like bass clarinet. I've never played bass clarinet until I was in an elementary school that happened to have one. So in my spare time, I just picked it up and learned it. And after a while, I was being annoying and I was teaching the orchestra through bass clarinet, like I was playing the cello parts for them on bass clarinet.
Mm.
And they're like, Mr. Jourdan, we don't know what fingers they are. I'm like, you know what it's supposed to sound like, right? Look at the board and figure it out. It's on the page. Like I put it there. So I was just on bass clarinet teaching class.
So I used to play clarinet too in sixth grade. That was the first instrument that I played. and we had to take a test to get our instrument. So they asked us a series of questions, and based on the questions, well, it was more like a survey.
Hmm.
Based on the answers that we picked on the survey, that's how we got our instrument. So I ended up with the clarinet.
Yep.
Through I ended up getting transferred from that school because we moved. We was living in South Side Jamaica at the time. I went to
Hmm.
PS 223.
Okay.
No, sorry, that was MS 223. 226. Yeah, and I was only there for like 3 weeks to a month, and then we moved out to Far Rockaway,
Hmm.
Queens, and I didn't have music again until I got to high school, my senior year of high school to be exact. Um, and in senior year, I played the piano, I played the snare drum, I played the djembe, the triangle, and what else was it? I think that was it. Yeah. So, but the piano was always my favorite to play.
For sure.
Violin was always my favorite. Violin and saxophone were my two favorites to listen to. And I just enjoy seeing people go crazy on the drums. Like my oldest nephew, he plays the bass drum, but he also plays snare, and I believe he plays trumpet. Right now, he's in college at Virginia State.
Cool.
Yeah, he got a full scholarship to do music there.
Hey. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, he's picked that up through me and stuff like that. I've kind of like, again, people just being inspired by me doing stuff. I haven't been able to bring them out to shows and stuff as much, but the times that I did bring him out, he's seen some really cool things, within this music journey that I've been on. So,
For sure.
I'm happy that he's followed a similar path and he enjoys it. It's something that he actually loves doing. But what I was going to ask is, does your versatility in instruments make it easier for you to get booked for gigs?
Not really, but yes and no, because there there's some gigs I just wouldn't take because of, yeah, I can do things with it, but the things that they would want me to do, I can't. Like I I would never, barely ever. I think I've taken, I on one hand, the is the amount of like the piano gigs I've taken.
Mm,
I wouldn't take a piano gig. I wouldn't take a church organ gig. Like
mm.
I I wouldn't do it. Like
And why is
I
that?
because I don't think I'm good enough. Like I just don't think I'm good enough. I can admit that.
Mm.
I'll take a guitar gig. I'll take a bass gig any day. Guitar and bass gig, don't I wouldn't even think about it. Hell, you know me as a guitarist more than you know me as a bassist.
I do, and hence the name on the flyer is CJ the guitarist. Otherwise I would have said instrumentalist. Like,
My reputation is actually being a bassist.
mm,
I f- I actually feel like I'm a better bassist than I am a guitarist. But
mm,
I I I songwrite on guitar, so it doesn't matter to me. I spend equal amounts of time. In church, I go back and forth depending on, like, if they
mm,
have a special guest coming in, then I stop playing bass and I just bring my guitar and do silly lead stuff,
mm.
do the, big church rock stuff.
I feel that. I feel that. Um, so what are the highest paying gigs? Like, what are the ones that pay the most money, in your opinion?
Um, that's a super hard question because it really depends on who you know.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like it's all who you know and where you're at. Because there's someone who I met at Apple who isn't who made a hip hop orchestra. Shout out the Phantom and the hip hop orchestra. I've been playing with them for over a decade, and I met him while I was at work at Apple.
Mm, that's dope.
Things happen that way. Like I've played Carnegie Hall twice, and
Mm,
I've, you know, depends on who you know.
that's dope. So I've seen a picture of you and what was it, Rakim?
Oh yeah. That,
Yeah. So talk about that. How did that happen?
well, it was through the Phantom in the Hip Hop Orchestra. Um,
Oh, nice.
we because he's been at it for some time, and it's a very unique thing. It's almost all ethnic folk. It's hip, and we just play hip hop classics with an orchestra.
Mm.
So Rakim wanted to do something with us, so we did like the greatest hits of Rakim with an orchestra, and it was a fun time. Actually,
Orchestra.
he gave me a crazy compliment. He said, "Man, you do you did a good job, man. You kept me in time. You kept me in time, man.
Mm.
You keep it up." And I'm like, "Little old me." So once again, just where you're at and who you know.
That's really dope, man. So what other dope legends have you been able to play for?
Uh, Um, my my jazz professor is a Grammy nominated jazz artist, so I played for him obviously a lot because he liked to show off a lot. So Bobby Sanabria, him, TK Blue. I played for Sal Valentinetti, um, Rakim, in Steve Teray,
Okay.
a lot of jazz people. Um, damn, that was a while ago. Sorry.
That's dope though. That's really dope. It's inspiring because again, I don't know your journey when I first meet you, and being able to have you, play bass while I'm performing to a live band, it felt legendary. Excuse me.
Thank you.
It felt legendary. It was just dope to see and to experience and to witness, all of that. Um, so I think in general, people should be more respectful of who they're working with because, you know, everyone has like this CEO janitor mindset.
Sure.
When it's like they respect the CEO more than the janitor, and it's like, dude, if there wasn't no janitor, this building wouldn't be fucking cleaned for the CEO to walk in.
Right?
Yeah, so I appreciate everybody that I've ever done a show with, whether I got to like stay in contact with them or not. It could be the audio engineer, it could be you, it could be the people in the crowd. Like,
Right.
I just never underestimate anyone's presence. And it's also, and then like I said, when you get to know them a little bit more deeper, like getting connected with you, the more and more that we talk and hang out and perform and stuff like that, it's just more prevalent to have these kind of characters, in your story. Because when you like say for example with an EPK, if I don't if I don't list that I've performed with a live band, I won't get that nod, in certain
For
rooms.
sure.
And it's not for validation, it's more so just the experience and, also the gigs and stuff like that. Like, I would love to be booked to do another live performance, rather than me, going through a platform to do it, for them to do it for me kind of
Right.
thing. You know, it's just really all about, like you said, who you know. And I think that that's becoming something that's bigger in my journey because I'm coming across a lot of people who are like, they just play the back. They don't want to be in the spotlight. They're powerful people. They know what they know. They got the connections, but they're not out here flexing it like that. Like it's like if you know, kind of thing.
Right. I mean, it's all about you got to be humble
You have to be honest.
because
A lot of people tell me I should be talking my shit more, and I agree, but I don't feel like I'm built that way. Like I don't feel like I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to be out there like, yeah, I'm the best. I'm doing it. I'm better than you. I can do this. I can do anything. I don't feel like I'm supposed to be out there doing that. you
No,
know. So
the proof is in the pudding. It's like
hundred
because
percent
you hit it on the stage, you do the thing, you walk away like nothing happened.
real shit. And that's how I knew that I was like really good at this because you know before I used to get on stage and just worry about everything. I mean, even to this day, I'm still performance based. You know, I'm still damn, I got to give a good performance. Or when I do perform, I'll be like, damn, I messed up on that part right there. Or damn, I forgot to shout myself out. Or, you know, whatever it could be. You know, I
Right.
still have those moments. But for the most part, go on stage and I get off stage and I just, like you said, nothing happened. I wasn't even there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which I
I,
told was just a fucking memory. It was a flashback.
I live my life like that. But sometimes I regret my main thing that I regret about that mindset that happens to me sometimes is that I forget to take in the moment afterwards. Like the
I agree.
like how did I walk off the stage of Carnegie Hall for the second time in my life? And I'm like, okay, and then walk out. I play at the Apollo and like play a 2 hour concert at the Apollo. And it was for like a fashion show or something like that.
Mm.
And so we slammed it down. I even remembered to do a point of view camera thing on my music stand, so I have the footage. And when I decide to be good at social media, so that's gonna go up because I went ham, bro. Anyway,
Listen,
uh,
man, you don't just get good one day, man. You just got to keep doing what you're doing. You feel me? It all comes along the journey. You don't just wake up one day and be better than you was yesterday without trying.
right,
So, and you
gotta break.
know this, man. You know this. So, when it comes to social media, bro, just post it. Like you'll figure out the insights and all that shit as you go along. Like, but people need to see your journey. Feel me? People need to see what you've been doing. They need to be inspired by your story, bro. Like, you feel me? Don't hide that from the world.
You have a real point. It's mainly just being distracted and lazy. Like a part of that, which is why I'm here in the Bronx now, uptown. I'm moving into a lot of boroughs, man. I've been a lot of places. Anyway, so because in the BX I can actually lock in and post this stuff and work on this stuff because I'm in silence. There's nothing going on. It's been just me in this apartment for like a month, which is great.
But thought I thought Long Island was quiet.
Those family things that I told you about before,
Uh,
yeah, that's why I had to get out. As
oh, I get it. I get it. I get it. You had to change scenery, open different
because
world paths. I feel that.
because your boy was gonna end up in jail for the third time.
It's tough.
So so now I'm in the BX.
I feel that. I feel that. Um, Not to get too personal, but
I'm an open book.
do you feel like do you feel like your I don't want to say desire, but do you feel like your willingness to go through jail kind of hinders your career sometimes? Like, do you feel like that takes a hit at what you're aiming for in the large picture?
Nah,
I could rephrase
I
that if you need. I
no,
don't know if I
nah,
said that.
because I
I don't know if I said that in a good way.
I handled my business very quietly. I just had to deal with the ramifications of it quietly afterwards. It didn't really affect me much.
Mm.
It was a lot of annoyance and a lot of money. That was really what it was.
I feel that. So I haven't exactly been to jail, but I have been arrested several times. A lot of times over some real dumb shit, but one time it was actually like serious, like something serious. Um, of course, I was wrongfully accused, but and I was acquitted, rightfully so. Um, but in that moment when I was going through that situation and I was in central bookings, they were going to process me and send me to Rikers the next day if um if I didn't get that lawyer that they appointed me, because I didn't even have money for a fucking lawyer. That's crazy. But they appointed me this one lawyer, and I don't know if it was just my lucky day. I don't know if he was really passionate about being a lawyer and making it big somewhere. I don't know. But something about this dude made him actually, because you know how it
Yeah,
is, man, with
yeah,
us black
yeah.
people in the system. You feel me? They happy to get us. It don't matter if we did this shit or not. They happy to have us, and they just, again, from the case that it was, I don't really want to talk about it on live, but from whatever the situation was, the motherfuckers was really ready to send me off, you know? And I've been in the cell multiple times as far as central bookings go. And I always knew that I was going to get out because I was arrested for hopping a fucking turnstile. I was arrested for walking through a train door. You know, I've never been arrested for a crime.
Right.
You know,
No,
like these just is
mine,
not crimes.
mine weren't
So
crimes either.
this, right. So, you know, so I guess I can understand that. But it's like in that moment when I was sitting there in that cell, just knowing, like, first off, what really already put me on rise was that everyone started treating me different. Like, there's a difference when you get arrested for hopping a turnstile than when you commit a crime.
Right.
Like, when they know you in there for hopping a turnstile, everyone's like, oh, yeah, just chill out, relax, don't panic, you'll be out tomorrow. But when it's a serious situation, everybody changed. Like the inmates like start looking at you like, you know, like they know you're gonna be there a long time. The correction officers start treating you any kind of way, pushing you here, telling you what to do. Like there's like that's already their job for you, like things of that nature. And I sat there and I was in there for at least a day and a half. And nobody knew where I was. I didn't call anybody on the outside. For me personally, that was the most embarrassing situation. Mind you, by the way, they came to my house, so my immediate family saw it. My sisters, my nephews, my nieces, my mom, they all saw that shit. You know, and that was like the most embarrassing moment for me. But
Mm.
just sitting there, just thinking about everything that I've already done in that time, and I was like, yeah, I just can't even believe I'm going through this. And when they finally let me go, it's crazy because before that situation happened, I was planning to move out the country, which I did. I ended up moving to
Oh,
London for a few months. I went to London for a few months. Financially, I didn't, you know, do too much research. So whatever money I did save up, I didn't think of a way to make more money. Um, and what I did was when I was out there in London, I was charging people the features to work, but you know they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to pay me features because they felt like I was charging too much. But I was only charging what, £30, £30 for a verse, and I'm delivering a quality verse. You know, I'm taking my time to write
that's
this shit.
nothing.
Like, yeah, exactly. You know, and I was around a bunch of artists. So prior to making that move to London, I was visiting for like I think that was like 4 years prior. So this was the fifth year. Well, no, this was the fourth year. So last year was the fifth year. I'm like, you know, I go every year at least if I can. But yeah, so year four, tried to move out there. I've already known people from the previous 3 years. You know, like I've already been building up like friendships, relationships with, you know, event curators and all of that.
Sure.
So you know, I have my network out there. So this was just me utilizing that network. But long story short, ran out of money, and then the court date came up. My dumbass didn't look at the bottom of the paper where it says it's a virtual court date. So me panicking, thinking, oh, these motherfuckers gonna come look for me. Like, you know, I'm thinking they're gonna come out to the UK SWAT team and all come get me. So, you know, um, yeah, I just kind of returned home like an idiot. Um, we did the virtual date, and right then and there, he was like, "Look, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Let me handle all the talking and stuff like that, and you're good to go." And I just sat there. Or they asked me a couple yes or no questions. I answered, and I was out of there. Like, but from that moment forward, I said I would never, ever, ever jeopardize my career again. And like I said, I was wrongfully accused. I had no business being where I was when the whole shit went down. You know,
Mm.
so I guess I deserved it. But at the same time, to get let off the hook like that, it was like you just cannot simply take your career for advantage again. You
Right.
know, and ever since then, I've just been locked in and just more great stuff has been happening because I decided to like not play around like that with my freedom. You know, because, you know, just people getting locked up for fucking carrying weed, shit like that. And
Right.
do you know, one of the times I got arrested was because I didn't have ID. It's like about like 7 years ago. I was coming home from my older sister's house. She gave me some food to bring down to my mom. And this is when stop and frisk was, still in action.
Yeah.
So I'm
Okay.
walking down the block, going to the bus stop. They see me, large plate in my hand, well, plates stacked up or whatever. They see me walking. It's cold outside, of course. They pull up. Where you going? To my house, so they start asking me dumbass questions. Where you coming from? Oh, you fit the description, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So now they come to asking me for ID. And of course, at this time, I don't know that I can tell them that they're not rightfully, like if I'm not being detained, they cannot search me. Like I didn't know to tell them that at the time. So yeah, they searched me, found out I didn't have no ID, took me right in. And it was just dumb. They let me go like 3, 4 hours later. And I was just like, what was the point? What was the purpose? But now I know that they do the quotas and stuff like that. Like they have to meet their quotas. So that's why they do silly petty arrests like that. They specifically target us. Specifically.
Dude,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so
When I was when I was 11, I got stopped and frisked on the block of my house.
at 11.
Hmm.
At 11 years old. What did you do at 11? Like what, not saying that you're not capable of doing anything crazy, but why? What made you a target at 11 years old? Like, you don't even look your age now. You know what I'm saying? So I can imagine 11, you look like a fucking pipsqueak. Like, you was like,
Yo, I mean, look, I've always been this way. Like my personality has always been like this. So I'm 11. So I was not being very cooperative. So it's
ah,
like, where are you going? Home. Where's home? That way. What's in your book bag? Books. That's why they call it a book bag. I
no,
s-
real shit. That was me too.
and,
That was me too.
but then the other officer, because there are two officers nearby, he put his hand over his gun. He put his hand
Mm.
over his gun, and I'm like, what do you think this fucking is, bro? So the officer continues. He's like, let me op let me open the book bag. Look at it. You want to see Matt? He's like, I swear one more time. So I was just silent and I looked at him and I just stared at him. And obviously there's nothing. He's like, you have ID? And actually, yes, I had a non-driver's ID because
Mm.
because my mom and my dad both grew up in Brooklyn. They know what's good. So um, I had a non-driver's ID and I handed it to him with a face. You can imagine a face. So so he looks at it, he looks at me, and then they silently walk back to the car. They literally were a hand over a gun for an 11-year-old, my dude, in fucking Elmont. You wouldn't
They,
expect
they
it.
definitely harass people out there. I've gotten stopped before out there.
Dude, they know exactly who I am. They still have eyes on me because I got involved with the police recently, and they told my parents they know exactly who I am. This is since 11, and I always fucking knew it too. 20 something years of knowing exactly who I am, following me and harassing me the entire time. Do you know how
They do that.
quiet? Do you know how quiet it's been in my life since I moved into the city? I am
I believe it.
I am just another nigga.
And so Nassau County, they don't. Nassau police just are, or Suffolk rather. I don't know what you guys have either way.
We're not
But
we're Nassau.
Nassau, okay, yeah. So Nassau County, they're very weird, man. I ain't gonna lie. Again, I probably deserve to be pulled over, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I used to work in Roosevelt Field Mall,
Sick.
for context. So that's the only reason why I was in Long Island. I don't know anything about Long Island, but I used to work in that mall. Um,
You know
but yes, I
enough
used
that
to get up for work. Yeah, I used to get up for work 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and the buses don't run after a certain time, so I got to walk a mile to go catch that N6 to Jamaica.
yep.
So, got my weed, rolled up, smoking on the way home, 3 o'clock in the morning. Like so they pulled over on me one day, and I low key threw the flip. I lost it, but I tried to like throw it to the side so I could pick it up later.
Hmm.
But they was they pulled me over and they just started searching me and asking me questions about weed and shit. And I was like, "Bro, I finished it or whatever." So they just, tried to write me a ticket, but I was like, "You didn't find anything on me." Like at this point, I was a little bit more knowledgeable about the law, so I was able to tell them like, "Fuck off,"
No.
But yeah, but they still, low key gave me a hard time. But it was just like, man, y'all just don't really, y'all don't get it, man. Like we don't do nothing. We're just chilling. We're going about our life. We don't deserve to be harassed this way. You know what I'm saying? And it's just sad because they don't even target real criminals. Like, look at all the shit that's happened, even to this day. Like, even the subway system. What they just said 2 days ago, someone just got stabbed because of the congestion pricing or whatever. Like, it's forcing
Bro,
more people onto the train and stuff like that. So now people are getting more aggravated and whatever the case, more stuff is happening
something every day this year,
every
bro.
day.
Literally
So far, every day
every
this year.
day.
Yep.
Yes. Yes. Literally. And the answer to it is the National Guard, give the police more money.
Yeah.
None of these solutions work. Eric Adams is fucked in the head.
He's
Catherine Hochul,
already done it.
Kath, Catherine Hochul needs to just walk out the door and keep on walking somewhere. I don't want anything bad to happen to her. I just want her away. Eric Adams is a fuckface. I don't care about him. Set him on fire.
You know what it is? That like, because I think about the whole healthcare worker situation. None of that really happens to like police officers. It doesn't happen to, you know, political candidates and stuff like that. Like, if it happened to those kind of people, I'm pretty sure they would work a little harder to like, like to make changes because they know that we're not playing with them at this point. And
What?
again, I'm not wishing death upon nobody, but
No.
I've always said somebody has to do the heavy work.
Yo,
Somebody has to be the one to let people know, like, yo, we definitely outside, and we not like them, we not them slaves back in the day. We're not gonna let y'all do this to us. A lot of us will fight back proudly and die behind it. Like
right.
so. It's just tough. How this all affects us. And all we're trying to do is just be great in whatever field that we choose to pursue. Um, so yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't really even. How can I say this? I try to stay as knowledgeable as possible of politics and laws and things of that nature, but I don't really care for it, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like that creates a whole burden in my mind that I'm worrying about breaking a law or, meeting a certain expectation that society deems required. So I don't really focus on them kind of things. A lot of people tell me I should be, I gotta be into that, but it's like the way I live my life, man, again, stress free. I'm at a point in my life where I just let a lot of things go. If it directly affects me, then yeah, sure, I'll deal with it. But for the most part, congestion pricing, that's not bothering me. Inflation, it may be bothering me, but it's not bothering me. Things like that, like just going on in the world is like, okay, it's not really affecting me. So, I can find a way out of this. I can continue to live life and find a reason to smile. I can find a way to continue to impact the people that are looking up to me. I can continue to do these things without destroying my mind about what's happening on the outside that I really can't control. So, that's pretty much where I'm at with it, man, honestly.
For me, I'm a stock investor, so I just pay attention to the flow of money. So I know where to invest my money. That's about it. I really don't
Right.
like it doesn't affect my psyche or anything like that. I mean, granted, sometimes it's good to know just so I know how to move, but
Mm,
that's about it.
I feel that. All right, so we got like a few more minutes left in this. I wanted to ask, going back to your albums, you said you
Yep.
have two albums.
Hmm.
You said your stage name or the band's name was Soul Experiment?
Experimental Soul. It's the
Experimental
name.
Souls. Sorry.
Yeah. So Experimental Soul is me, really.
Okay.
It because I record everything on my albums myself, except for things that I know other people can do better. So
So you do like engineering and all that.
what's up?
You do engineering and everything in between.
Yep. I engineer and produce everything. It's me. It's me and my business partner, and that's about it.
Does
So,
it ever feel like a lot of work to do? Like, do you ever feel like, sometimes you need help?
uh, um, I of course I would like help, but help costs money, and uh, and I can do it myself. So why not do it?
I feel that. I mean, well, I was hoping that that was your answer because, we're now in an era where they throw content at us now. Now we got to post content,
Mm,
and I hear a lot of my peers complain that, oh, I can't get the social media, like how you were saying earlier, I can't get the social media thing down. And, I've never been like a social media head,
hate it.
but I think just going along the journey and learning how to do things and just incorporating what I already know. It's been very easy for me to do all of this. And I haven't really complained about much. You know, um, as far as producing and engineering, that's something I need to like really discipline myself to spend more time doing. I would love to get better at that. Like at one point, the last album that I just put out,
Mm,
I really wanted that to be fully, produced and engineered by myself. I really wanted it so bad. Like, and I just kind of like lost the inspiration to like learn how to produce. Like I started learning, I made two beats and that was it. I just never touched my equipment again after that.
mm,
And I don't know what did it for me because I was feeling myself when I made those two beats. And, they're not the best beats, but I was feeling myself that I completed it.
right.
Like I learned, sat down, took all the courses, but it's not a lot of work for me, So I just kind of hope that we have more artists like that. And like you said, it is amazing to have help. I'm in a space now where I know a bunch of different artists that do different things. Like I've been talking to you and the other band members about putting together my own concert, live band concert.
Yeah,
So I'm learning to go to other people and saying, hey, I do need help putting this thing together.
yeah. I have a live
So
band.
that, mm,
And I brought in people in my live band who I've known for like 15 years. Like these are my people. Eh,
mm,
So I know it's gonna come out as close to the way I want it, even
I
live.
feel that. That's really dope, actually. So where can we find your music at, man? Because I want to hear it. I want to listen to it. I want to see what it's about. What is your genre? What were you recording?
So experimental soul is something like where Prince left off. The next logical conclusion to where Prince left off, but
Okay.
with a lot more rock and R&B.
Mm,
Less funk, more rock and R&B.
mm, okay. I
Um,
still want to hear it because I'm picturing it, and I'm like, okay, I can see where that's at. I can visualize what that sounds like.
right. Experimental Soul is the name of the band because you you gotta be not afraid to try things. You gotta be an
Mm,
experimental soul, but also it's a double entendre because that's the name of the genre that
very
I think it is. Like
control.
experimental soul is not a genre; it doesn't exist.
Right.
So why that's me. I made a new genre.
As you should. As you should, man. We innovating out here, like we create things, and this is what we're mostly known for, being innovators.
I
They
like
don't know us to just be, plain Janes and wait for something. Like we don't reinvent the wheel over here. We create new shit every day. Like so.
exactly.
Yeah, I love that for you, man. That's dope. Um,
But the first album is self-titled Experimental Soul, and the second album is called Bedroom Eyes. Um,
mhm,
Bedroom Eyes is a love album from top to
sounds
bottom.
like it.
Every song's about love, but from a lot of different perspectives. Like
Mm,
love's not always good.
right.
Love can lead you into really strange places. So I talk about three of my exes in the song.
Mm,
Um, Not trash talking, just stating facts.
right.
Like these are my
Right.
feelings.
I
Anyway,
get it. I totally get you.
um, but yeah, Bedroom Eyes was a really crazy album. It took me me 10 years to get it done technically because the first song I wrote in like 2014. Um, and I didn't complete that album until like 2021, 2022.
Mm,
Because I was kind of afraid of it because I knew that the album was going to be fucking good,
mm,
like really fucking good, and it's going to challenge me to record it.
mm,
And once I'm done, I'm going to have I realize that I'm going to have to replicate that again. How
mm.
are you going to do that, Charles? So
Right.
that album scared me. Um, but Bedroom Eyes is amazing. Once again, played everything, and I wrote some shit, bro.
Mm. Have you performed any of these songs?
I have. I've done three live performances with Experimental Soul. I haven't done it recently because, well, I'm still a session musician, and
Right.
and all call a live cat. So between that and I'd have to get seven adults together in a room. That's
Mm.
really that's really difficult. And now some of them have kids and wives and shit like that. Like I can't fuck with their time
That
anymore.
part. Well, okay, so that's a good point that you make. Do you not want to mess with their timing? Like you don't want to, or is it because like simply you just like respecting that they just have a kid or they have a family going on?
Yeah, I'm just respecting their time. I know that they got a lot going
I'm
on,
sorry,
and
I don't care.
eh, but here's the thing. You if you have a network, just find other people.
Right. So okay, so let me rephrase that. Not I don't care, but with me, the way that I see it is that if 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 you truly love doing something, you're going to continue doing it, right? Like concert goers don't stop going to concerts because they had a baby or because they got married or because, they changed jobs or whatever the circumstance is. They find a way to get back into that life, even if something does sidetrack them, like having a kid or, finally getting married or whatever. Even if they do have to stop doing it for a while, they find a way back into it.
Of course.
And I've learned through the people that support me. There's been times where people have asked me, "How come you don't invite me to shows anymore? How come I don't see you post any flyers or that kind of thing?" And I'm like, "Damn, okay, you really wanted to be there, So yes, I'm very respectful on people's life. Like if they're telling me like, "Hey, I'm going through this," or "I got this going on," or whatever the case is, cool. I don't be mad at people for not showing up, but I'll never stop inviting them. I'm
Sure.
always inviting. It doesn't matter. Even if I'm doing like 5 shows in a month, I'm inviting them 5 times in that month. Like, I might get lucky on one of those days. And
Sure.
by doing so, I've created said network, I've created it to a point where now people are really hitting me up asking me, "Hey, when's the next time you're performing? I want to be able to make sure I'm free." And that feels great. You know what I'm saying? Like it
Of
feels
course.
amazing. So even if I still get like 5 people to pop out to a show, or if I'm one ticket away from selling out, it's just amazing that I now know people, are waiting for me to invite them out.
For
And
sure.
so that's why I say, don't give up on them, because they have a life. Obviously respect it, but don't give up on them because of it. Like
Yeah,
sometimes they might need to get away from that life, and you are their
for
getaway.
sure. And top secret, I'm gearing up for a show. So step
Okay.
ahead of you.
No,
Me and my business partner can sum up.
I need to be there. I want to actually see you in that type of element. Like, it's cool seeing you play for other people and help them bring their vision to life, but I would love to see what you've been working on. Um, I have another question, though, another behind the scenes question. I feel like this is a funny one. Um, so you see how I always, bring up you making the faces? Like I'm always like able to like turn around during my set and look at you guys and like seeing you're the only one who's like as animated as you are. Um, I feel like Jay he does the same on the drums, but he's more like a. I think the funniest thing I've seen him do, and this was at BK Archfest, he, he's playing the drum. He's going off with both hands. He put one stick down. He didn't skip a beat, by the way. He just put one stick down. He kept going, and he picked up his drink, took a sip, and he's like this the whole time. And I'm just like, yo. Like, is this guy serious? Like, and
Jay.
he just kept going. He didn't skip a beat. Like, he was just going. And I'm like, yo, that is sick. Like, I would love to be that dope. Like,
I love
but
Jay.
so the question is, on the reverse side of that, have
Mhm.
you been playing for someone and you either seen them do some wild stuff or you've actually tuned into the lyrics that they're saying and you just like kind of broke character a little bit?
Um, for sure. I mean, whew, there are so many gigs, bro. There's so many gigs and so many funny things that have happened over the time.
What's your funniest one
And
that you can remember?
um, at the time, it wasn't funny. In retrospect, it was pretty funny. There's one show with BK Art Fest where Kaz's keyboard fell off the stand 4 times, and I was absolutely livid because like that gig I was ND. So I'm like, my God, bro. Uh, mm. So luckily I was on guitar, so I had my octaver pedal with me. So I was just switching back and forth between bass and guitar, just going
Mm,
figuring figuring it out as it goes along. That was that was a mess.
it was. But I was watching it like from the crowd, and I'm just like, "Yo, what's good with this guy, man? Is he okay?" But I know Cass doesn't smoke or drink or anything. He's like a real clean
No,
person, so it was just funny to see, like, and then again, I've never seen him break character. He was frustrated that day, like he was going through it, and I was just like, "Damn, son." But again, the fact that you guys went on and carried the show, no one even knew that that happened except us that were in tune.
right.
So I think that was pretty hilarious, man. Just watching that. I believe I have the video. I was trying to catch something. I
Man,
gotta
yeah,
find it. I
I gotta see
posted it in my
that
story.
video.
Yeah, I definitely posted it in my story.
Uh,
But because there's like I have to go through the archive and add a bunch of stuff to the highlights and stuff. That's what I've been doing lately. Is separate like categorizing my highlights so that way
right,
if people do decide to look at them, they have something to laugh at, something to smile at, whatever.
right. I have
I've
that
been
too.
working on documenting my journey, basically, whatever that may look like to anyone. But yeah, it's in there somewhere. It's definitely in there somewhere, and I gotta find it. I
I
have to
need
go
it.
through everything and really. But it was funny. Like I wasn't trying to catch that. I was just trying to catch how you guys were like just killing it, and then boom, his shit just fell off, and I was like, oh shit, like
Bro, I've never seen that happen before. He is numero uno on the list right now.
that's funny. And that was recent. That was what, last month? Yeah.
It was like a couple of months ago. I think
Wait, which
it was
BKR Fest was this? And because we just did the winter one. I've done the
that was the one.
winter. I did the winter one last year as well.
That one was Superlative Sane was putting out a music video. And that was his premiere. But
Mm,
but it was also a BK Art Fest at the same time.
got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah. So what are your plans as an artist? Do you plan to create more albums? You did say you have a show coming up. Do you plan to
Mhm.
like go the artist route, like creating the merch and building a fan base and all of
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I am. At least for Experimental Soul, uh, for however long I intend to do that, because I know that there's going to be a point in my life where I'm just going to start putting out music as Charles Jourdan, and it's just going to be very different. Because,
Mm,
like, for me, when I wrote my first album, I thought to myself, okay, you have 3 albums in this concept. After that, you grow up and you make other music.
mhm.
Like go do some other things, make beats, explore other platforms. Because I produce and do MPC stuff. I have DJ before. So
That's another bag.
I would never do a DJ gig again, bro. I did it
Like,
once
wow,
for a
everybody had a
private party.
request.
Everyone had a request. The husband and the wife were disagreeing with the request. I was basically fighting for them with music. And after a while, I started ignoring them, and I'm like, I'm gonna go in my bag. I'm gonna get this groove going. So I just
Mm,
went to like 80s and 90s R&B and rock hits, and
mm,
everyone was in a groove because I was using a company's laptop. I typed in Juicy Fruit because I wanted Mtume. Yo, what came on was like some 1940s fucking jazz song, bro. After like 35 minutes of straight bangers in a set, and then
mm.
some slow ass, bad sounding, warbly jazz comes on. And
That's crazy.
someone in the audience says, "This sounds like janitor music."
And the end of the music is wicked.
And after that point, I gave up. I put on Pandora. I walked off.
You lying.
I didn't care anymore. Cause
You really did that?
yes, it did.
That's crazy.
Because
It's terrible.
yo,
Let the
how you
playlist
gonna
take over.
how you gonna have mislabeled songs on a company hard drive? Like it's not
Somebody
like
didn't care about their job.
like shit, bro. That killed my entire passion right there. I'm like, I'm never being a DJ ever again.
Well, you gotta have those bumps and bruises on your journey, man. But
I'm I'm gonna
I
get a
feel you on
table.
that. I feel you on that.
I'm gonna get a
All right.
table and do it
So
for me.
nah, I feel that. So yeah, we've reached the end of our episode. One thing I like to do is have you share something with the audience, the people that will be watching this afterwards. It could be anything, a thought, it could be a compliment, it could be a gem, whatever you want to share. This is your platform for it.
A phrase I love to live by. I thought this when I no, I thought this thought when I was 11, and I try to live it every day because it
You did
was
a lot
so
at 11.
insightful. I was a smart kid, bro, but I said to keep your eyes on the prize, you must open them.
Interesting.
Stay vigilant, everyone.
I like that. Well, thanks again, my brother, for coming on the platform. Thanks for the conversation. I feel more enlightened. I feel like we've created a tighter bond. So the
Absolutely,
next
bro.
time we perform is definitely going to be more astronomical.
Someone's
Uh,
gonna get hurt.
yeah, man. So thanks a lot for coming through, man. I appreciate you heavily.
Yes, brother. Peace, blessings.
Peace. You're going to have to exit, though.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. That's the end of today's episode of Going Live with the MC. Make sure you guys give CJ a follow if you enjoyed anything that he talked about, if you're interested in his journey moving forward, all that good stuff. If you're new to this was your first time seeing this, I do this every Wednesday, every Saturday. Make sure you guys tune in. I will be announcing the next guest on Monday. So stay tuned. Peace.